Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And we are back and live. Whew, what a whirlwind of a May it has already been. I don't know about you, but things are just looking great. And then we had the blood moon, the full moon, the eclipse all put together. So lots of things are happening. And I'm excited because I'm back here. And I've got amazing guests coming on as usual. Before I get to them, please remember that I try to be here every Tuesday, and every now and then we've got some tech issues, and every now and then other things happen. You can always catch the replays on the Los Angeles Tribune Roku channel, on our YouTube, on my YouTube. So you've got lots of options to review, and especially importantly, review to look at some of the comments here on the Facebook page, because we love it when you connect, especially when you connect with our guests, of course. That's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to introduce you to fun people, to interesting people, movers and shakers. And today I have somebody here on the show. I think he was on briefly before last year sometime. He has done so much, and it's unbelievable when you hear how much he really has done, because it all started small. And you know how some people are. Some people say, oh, I need it now. I need it out. Everybody wants a quick fix. And this young gentleman is sort of in a holding pattern sometimes, but in the positive one. He's just like, okay, this is moving, this is moving, this is moving. And then things just start coming. So if you want to talk about the law of attraction today, I think it would be awesome to do so. But without any further ado, let me bring in Dr. Kenneth Gray. Hi.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, good afternoon,
Yes.
wherever we are.
Well, afternoon where you are, morning where I'm at. So good.
Absolutely. So we have known each other for a little while, in spite of distances and so forth. But
Right.
the audience doesn't know you.
Right.
And of course, when I first met you, you didn't have the doctor title, and I'm so excited that you have that, and you've got multiple awards, which I'll share in a moment. But
Right.
please tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you're passionate about.
Well, I'm really just a simple coach, high school coach. When I got into coaching almost 30 years ago, I'm an athlete. Through athletics, most of my life, I met so many people. When I moved to England, me and my ex-wife, we moved over to Mammoth Hill, England, and there, I was still coaching. I was still doing my programs with kids because I love working with kids. There is when I decided to become a personal trainer as well, because I saw someone who really wasn't doing what I thought was correct. And I said to my ex-wife, I said, look, it's time for me to be a trainer because we need to make sure this is done correctly. So it's more one of those things of seeing what's wrong or what's needed. And I have this thing where God has given it to me to just share and be able to do God's work. Really, it's all about God's work, God's timing. And I like when you said the intro. Yeah, I'm in a holding pattern because it's God's timing. It's not my timing. And so for me, I like to just say I'm a coach. What does that mean? It comes with great responsibility, leadership. It comes with just being a great example as a man or a person. And that's what I would like to be known as. So how I got to what I'm doing now is through coaching, really, pretty much.
Coaching. Okay, I gotta get into this topic because I've got the screen. I've got the audience, and whoever's going to watch it later. I have a coaching or training question for you.
Yes.
Basketball.
Yes.
I am not a coach. I'm not a trainer in basketball, but I've seen basketball trainers for about the last 5 years with girls.
Right.
Emphasis with girls.
Right.
And lately, I've noticed a trainer who where the girls try not to show up for practice, where the language is a little off kilter, in my opinion. And ever since that, because I don't know what works and what doesn't for her. I know what works for the kids,
Right.
But there seems to be a difference between a coach and a trainer.
Sure, it is.
So what is the difference?
Well, a trainer is someone who, and a coach can be both, but they have to know when to separate both. We coaches, we come with a program or an agenda, where in conditioning, we try to make the best you. Okay. That means we want you bigger, faster, stronger, quicker, whatever the specifics of your sport specific. We want you conditioned in that realm. Now, when it comes to coaching, we don't have time sometimes to condition you. We don't have time to make sure that you have gotten all the things you needed to rest and all that. No, we have a game, we have a protocol, and it needs to be implemented. Why? Because it's my system. So what happens is the language is frustration. So when I first took over as a head coach, in high school, I never did youth. So high school, it was allowed to say what I wanted to say, how I wanted to say it, because we were preparing them to go to college and pros. You know what they say up there. So, so I think when you talk about youth, there should be some rules of engagement to the coach of what's allowed, what's not allowed, what's appropriate. And 2 years ago, I became an ABA pro coach for the NBA ABA partnership. So again, there are levels to everything, but there's also an understanding to everything. Coaches should coach, but can be a trainer, but know when to separate when you're training and when you're coaching.
Absolutely. I love that. And part of the reason, it's not just a personal question, but my brain always works in these ways where I'm trying to get to other issues. Right. And I'm thinking about the girls here that experience this trainer now, long prologue. We don't have to go into that. And now that fewer and fewer are showing up to the training.
That's because they don't like it anymore.
Yes.
The biggest rule to any sport is when I told these kids, if you do not like it, if you're not having fun, you're in the wrong place. And that is on me. That is making sure that the environment is conducive and fun for that individual. Now, that doesn't mean, we're not in a sport to beat somebody, break someone's nose, all that. It happens,
Yes,
because it's what we say engagement is. So right now it should be fun, and you should like it. The reason why they're not coming is because it's just no fun for them anymore.
Right. And it worries me, not with these girls, because I know where they live, but it worries me in regards to the work that you do. Right. Because when we first got together, we were the focus was really on homeless students, on homeless kids. And you send me some. I think I'm going to share a couple of statistics. And please, audience, forgive me if I'm sharing them in the wrong order. But this is one of them. No, it's not showing up. That's interesting. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is one of them. And that is the wrong one. So I want to go to this one. Okay. So homeless students in Montana, for example, has increased.
Mm-hmm.
Schools and committees need to know who is experiencing homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share another one. And this one is 74% of students experiencing homelessness shared housing with others, etc., etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why is that your mission?
Well, first thing, it was not a mission of mine. Let me just frame this in the true sense of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to coach. But when God does something and He puts something on you that you have no choice but to migrate to what He's saying, okay? Because I always say this story from the age of 9. I don't wanna, but I've never said no. There's a difference when God knows somebody's saying no versus somebody saying I don't wanna.
Uh-huh.
Because a lot of us don't want to do a lot of things that we've done. Okay, so with that, I didn't want to be a coach. I told the coach who called me, you had to be really off your, you know what to call me because you got the wrong guy. So many years later, I was the best coach in the state of Maryland. They saw that. I didn't see it. So what happened was when I migrated down to Atlanta, before I migrated to Atlanta, at the school that I coached and went to and I attended, there's a lady with this agriculture science initiative program that I have that's named after her, named Joyce Wills. She had this thing for 30 years called Mead Matters. And what she was doing is she was actually providing food, amenities to homeless children or displaced families for almost 30 years in that school. And that school sits on Fort Meade, Maryland, which is the most secure base or school in the nation. So it's not about the security; it's about the environment and the situation. That's how I got into it. Because when she asked me a question at a basketball game, "Do you have any money to help with donation?" And I said, "Donating for what?" And when she told me what it was, I went all the way down the line to all my alumni that were in there. I said, I need to talk to every one of you, and I need some money out of your pocket right now so I can give it to this lady so she can help out with these kids in our school. From that point on is when I moved to Atlanta, and along with a young lady named Dr. Britt, she and I sat down for a whole night, and we came up with this idea of getting kids to do something after sports. And it was food related, growing food. I'm thinking, I don't know anything about no growing food, but then God put that on you. You do what He tells you to do. And that's how that started. From Miss Wills, then going to Atlanta. And then the story just explodes from there. Right? Yeah.
Okay, so it's food, and I want to share this picture since we're talking agricultural initiative. This may not look like much. It's land, it's
land.
Ground,
Yeah.
and then there's this picture as well. So tell us a little bit about these images and what it means.
Okay, the first one you saw is when I was in Atlanta, and again, I don't wanna. I was at a meeting with a lot of different people down there. We had a huge, get together, chat meeting with almost 30, 40 people. And I met up with a gentleman named Reverend Lionel Gant. And he was part of the SCLC group. That's Martin Luther King's group down in Atlanta. And he came and he told us that he had partnered with someone with 206 acres of land. And I said, wow, man, that's a lot of land. And he said, well, it's there and we're trying to do something with it. Ooh, I go home. This is no lie. I go home the next day. I'm on my treadmill, walking on my treadmill. God said, hey, ask Him for some land. And I said, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to. I like the way you say
I
that.
said, I don't want to do that. I don't know this man like this. I'm just down here. I haven't been there 6 months yet, and I'm asking somebody for what land? He said, ask for the land. I'm saying, no, I don't want to do that. And when I submitted, and when I couldn't fight it, tears rolled down my eyes. And next meeting, I asked Reverend Gann, I said, Reverend Gann, I got something to ask you. I said, all that land that you have, is it possible? Because here's what I do. Here's what I'm doing. And I don't know how old your audience is, but I can tell you this, right? When an older gentleman says, good God Almighty, it ain't always a good thing. So when I asked for some land, I didn't ask specifically for any amount. I was just looking at maybe 50 yards because I'm a football coach. I figured 50 yards is a lot of land to do something. And when I asked, and I had to because I was compelled to do it, and he looked at me, he said, good God Almighty, Coach Gray. And I was like, you know what? That's why I didn't want to ask. He said, well, I'll donate 50 acres of land to your company, to your cause. And I said, man, 50 yards is pretty good. Thank you. He said, no, Coach Gray, you didn't hear what I said. I said, what did you say? He said, 50 acres. I said, 50 acres. I said, how much is that? But you got to remember, I'm a simple coach.
How many?
Man, so that first picture is the actual site in Dublin, Georgia, where 50 acres of land was donated for us to grow food for the homeless across this country. It's still there, and we're still, like I said, everything is timing. Yeah, I came back to Maryland with the notarized copy. It sits in my drawer, and we are going to get it done. It's moving so fast, but it's moving on God's time because it's earth. And a lot of folks say, it's the land, but it's earth. A gentleman taught me years ago. He said, "Earth, remember what you're on. You're on earth." Okay. All right. So the second picture was, you will hear from the liaison in 2 weeks from now. He will be on the show with me. Is Coolwood Middle STEM Academy. That was the first school to adopt the Agriculture Science Initiative program curriculum to grow. And what you saw was the groundbreaking site outside of the school where they will be growing the garden out there. So that's about 3 acres of land outside of their school that we have already did the groundbreaking. You saw the drones and the pictures and all that. And with COVID, it pushed everything back a little bit, but still, they were the first school to adopt the program.
Wow. And I'm going to show that again. You had sent over more pictures.
Yeah.
But to me, it's so impressive because you see the commitment, regardless of how fast, how slow.
Right.
It's going to all be divine timing. And
right. And in that picture, also, is homeschool program. There's a homeschool program also affiliated in that same community that we all partnered at the same time, homeschool and the middle school. And that whole homeschool program in North Carolina at that time also was right there with the groundbreaking. So it was a dual situation where we are talking about homeschool and public school.
So you're actually able with this program, and I'd like you to say a little bit more about the program in a minute, to bring all the various fractions together, because normally it's like public school and homeschooling don't necessarily agree on things, right? Because that's why you have homeschooling. And so this program, I know there's a lot behind it, and I know that you've also been trying to raise funds for various aspects of this. Right. What exactly is the idea behind this agriculture program? Is it only helping students, and only in those, only helping students understand sustainability, or what is it?
This is where the explosion comes in. The part of what I wanted was for these kids who, the story comes from here. When I left coaching, before I left, our kids was making the grades while they were playing football. That 4 months, I've had kids go from a 1.5 to a 3.3 in 4 months because they had an interest of playing. And when the game stopped, their grades dropped. And I said, well, something's wrong with this picture. So I went to the administrators and said, well, why don't we have a year-round sports program for every kid who's an athlete? I don't give a damn, get into something. Because clearly it is an interest of the sport that is keeping your grades high to participate. It doesn't mean you don't know how to learn. You just have this thing where you turn it on and off, which is wrong. So I said, well, okay, let's create something that they can do after the sport is gone. Grow some food. That's what I said. I said, maybe we can get a garden because it's year round anyway. So maybe they can grow food year round, learn how to grow and so on. And then that's where Dr. Britt and I we just set up and brainstormed. And I gave her the ideas and we wrote and came with a three-page, we worked up 3 pages. Then we scratched that and came up with 12 pages within the same time that night. Because we went from just growing to actual growing, trade, volunteerism, farmers market, all of that came out because the explosion was there. Is the earth is the substance, the root is us the kids, but the branches of the tree is the avenues in which we take the agriculture science, because we all come from the earth. We are a product of the earth.
Yes.
So if we can take where we came from and when we're gonna go back to, and be better stewards on what God already said. I've already provided everything here on earth for you. That's what he said. So now how do we now get back to God's true work? And it's agriculture. Because we can't eat these buildings out here, We can't.
No, you can't? Okay.
So that's where the explosion came in. And when the explosion came into these different avenues, well, it wasn't a written curriculum until later. The written curriculum came in later because they loved the OWAA so much that they saw how it could work for them. Right, there you go. And once they saw that, and well, where did we go from there? Well, now we have to get instructors in a curriculum to teach at Coolwood and at the homeschool program. So we need something to teach. So that's where the curriculum came in.
Yeah.
So there's going to be something else after this. I don't know what it is, but it will be something else.
So who is teaching at this program? Because I mean, it's agriculture, it's sustainability, it's trade, which means business, and it's work, which means having a job.
Dirty hands.
So who's training on this?
Well, this is the thing. The school system can adopt this and implement it according to what their needs are in that school. Or if it's implemented, they'll have me go out and hire the instructors, like what we have right now at Movement School in North Carolina. They asked me to put in 58 classes of this curriculum. They loved the curriculum. They loved everything that I proposed. And now I'm just waiting for a phone call where I may have to fly to North Carolina for a whole 2 weeks to set up and try to hire 4 instructors for these 58 classes. Because what they're doing now in the school system is they are contracting out individuals now. So my program, they love, so they want to contract out this agriculture science initiative, which they're looking at also putting in Georgia for a new school, Movement School, next year. So the whole process is we don't know what you need until you tell us what you need. And when you tell us what we need, we will try to figure out how to get that and make that done. So when they adopt it, we say, okay, the program is yours. You now have to go with your teachers or whoever you have, make it so. But if you don't have that, I'll make it so.
So here comes the trick question. Because I know you and I sort of have been playing with this idea. Of course, you're based in the US. You're a coach. I know you've been to Great Britain and all of that. There is a need outside the United States. So what's your hope? I don't want to hope. Or where do you perceive God might be leading this whole thing, not just US based, but do you see it blossoming across the world?
Is there earth in other countries?
I don't know. Let me think about it.
and what that is God is everything and everywhere. So when we separate our minds from where we live and For some weird reason, strange reason, I said I'm going to drive to Miami one time, right after my divorce, because I said I really want to see if the bull crap is the same from Maryland, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida. Well, actually, it's the same. I get to Tampa, St. Pete, and I go over to this observatory, and I actually just look out into the sea, saw the ships passing through, and on the wall was just a picture of the state of Georgia, of Florida. I'm thinking, wow, I'm in there somewhere, but nobody knows I'm in there. But God knows I'm in there. We are such such a small, minute thing compared to God's earth. To say that it cannot come overseas or in a place of need, I would be wrong. It just takes partnership. It takes someone who really see what's happening and say, we need this. Let's get this done. Because ultimately, there's 3 elements that I've seen in my existence that doesn't allow us to exist anymore. There's air, water, and food. Without those 3 elements, I don't think we are talking today.
No.
So yes, the need is real. Problem is you have people out here who are evil enough to try to restrict food from other people, to just control them. Well, if you learn how to defend or fend for yourself to grow food yourself with these things, the original glove, the original fork, we can plant, we can grow each and every day, even throughout the whole year, if you learn what grew in the elements of winter, the elements of summer, spring, and fall, because food is it's every day.
Right.
So yes, like you and I spoke about it, the program can operate where you are, and we're talking about something like that now. So yeah, absolutely, I want it there, and I met we knew people. I think you remember Queen Blessing.
Yes.
Okay, Queen Blessing, she's from Africa. We talked about doing agriculture before I even got to this point.
That's true. I remember that.
She was talking about bringing it to Nigeria and all of the other places, because she sits on she goes to the UN sometimes. So that is not off my radar. It's just tabled. I just have everything on the table, waiting for the perfect time for God to say go. That's it.
So you let God lead.
I have to. Well, what happens is I have to surrender. And if I didn't surrender, I'll be doing my own thing. And there's one rule that I taught as a coach: doing your own thing, you will lose. I believe that 100%.
Oh yeah.
So right. So God is my coach. So I do, and sometimes I try to stay away from him talking to me. It's impossible.
No, can't hide. Can't
do it. Can't do it. So I have surrendered almost 12 years ago, and once I did that, I'm not doing Kenny's work. I'm doing God's work, because He's allowed me to be a coach that I didn't want to be.
Right.
He allowed me to be Dr. Kenneth. I didn't ask for it. He allowed me to have these awards that I'm receiving. I didn't ask for them. I just wanted to be a simple athlete. Feared my mother more than anybody on this earth, and that's Kenny Gray, man. That was me, So now,
I have a few more questions about leadership and coaching and all of those awards.
Yeah,
because you now have 2, and you're probably going to get another one. But and the leadership is also, I think, part of the occupational training that you're doing.
Sure.
Because you're not providing the fish, you're teaching them how to fish, and that is so crucial, and it's needed across the globe. But I want to go very, very briefly, because that's my job to a quick commercial, and then we will be right back, because I do want to highlight that the network that we're on is really a cool network. So I'm going to take a little break. Bear with us.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And now, because I can, I'm going to show a photo, a picture. Okay. Dr. Kenneth Gray, 2022 Lifetime Achievement Award and Presidential Volunteer Service Award. So that was in 2022, but this is your second, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. In 2016, I was you were with me. And remember, I did not believe anything until we walked into that rotunda. And I told you, I said, Natalie, they told me about this Obama thing, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they asked me to come to Atlanta and the State House, and I look at the Gold Dome. I was like, okay, yes, I received the Barack Obama presidential award, same award for volunteerism. George Bush started this for veterans. And it has grown ever since. Of course, it's been under every president, even our former president, the other guy. He used it for individuals who he saw fit to, that was doing great things in the nation. And this is the highest award that you can receive from a sitting president for a civilian. And I share that with you as well.
Yes, but I'm not the highlight of this show.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of us out here, so you have to understand that there are teams. And as a coach, I like a good team now. Hey, I don't like doing things by myself, so I really like a good team doing it. And that's one reason why we're talking today, because you have been. I was telling a friend of mine, I said she's probably my biggest supporter. No pomp and music, but boy, is she. What are you doing? What do you need? How you got it? I was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, and I'm sitting here waiting for divine guidance.
You are.
It's all good. So you've got these volunteer awards, and once you got them, you're sharing them. What does volunteerism mean to you?
Well,
why is that so important?
Well, I watched my mother do remarkable things. I thought she was the meanest woman on for kids. And then all these other people came out like, man, your mom she did this for me. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, wait. You can't be talking about the same woman that, yes. And I'm thinking, she has a double life. Okay? So most of my life, I watched my brother, who she groomed to be her general. And what she said, he did exactly what he did. And the giving of self and that thing where you didn't have, for take what I have, take a portion of what I have, but come here and do this before you go along your way. It's about really helping the least of these, okay? And giving of yourself first. To look for something in return is wrong, because I don't look for anything in return. My return is what God provides for me. Okay, so this is where I'm at today, to be on this platform today, to talk to the individuals who are going to watch this today. That is not because I want to be here.
I don't want to.
I'm only obedient to what God is going to do, because my ministry, and he knew it when I surrendered, is the school system. And he has all the glory. Now, what he knows is I know the system. As a coach, I'm the most powerful individual in the school system, high school, the head football coach, most powerful. And if you're winning, oh, the world is yours. So as a volunteer, okay, it's giving first, no matter what it is. And if you can't do it, at least feel it and say, if I could, what I would have done, because a lot of us can't. But you got that empathy first, If you don't feel empathy, volunteering is not going to. It's not for getting in heaven. It's not doing it to get in
Not a
heaven.
bartering game, right?
It is either in you or it's not.
Yeah. So when it comes to schools, especially in the US, they have implemented this service learning, which I think is a great idea. At the same time that it's a great idea because it introduces students to the idea of what they can do, even with little, just by giving of themselves, giving their time. And at the same instance, I see a lot of students not being too happy about that requirement.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, I'm old enough and young enough to know we didn't have that when we were in high school.
Right.
We did have the military come and say, come into the military and serve with us, right? And they wanted all that we had. Being about it is volunteer army. So what we had was a lot of summer job programs. So we didn't have to do the volunteer. We were paid to do some of these things. So today, the requirement of being a volunteer, I think, is awesome, but they're not paying these young people. See? So volunteering and a job is two different mindsets.
Right.
And I think you should go out and know how to service and give back at a young age, because as you get older, that's what we end up doing anyway.
Right.
So I love the idea that they have to go out. It's almost like a downgraded internship, right? Where you have to show up, get signed off, and then you get the credit for it.
Yeah.
There's no better way right now that I see in high school because it's really spearheading these young people of giving back. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I think it's. I remember some of the students at the college. They were like initially they were like really resistant. Also partially because they had to go to a specific part of town of Baltimore.
Absolutely.
But then, afterwards they were like, wow, this is a really cool.
Well, also remember this. When I had my managers on my football team, right? They received letters because they were volunteering for me, right? That was part of their, the extra after school thing. Virginia University sent a letter to one of my managers and offered a scholarship because of what they were doing in as managing a football team. So there are perks out there if you meet the right individuals and they see that you have this special quality, like in me. Most of the stuff that I'm doing, somebody saw it first. I didn't see this. Remember, I don't want to do this.
I don't want
to do this.
Now, with all of that, you have these multiple angles in which you work. So on the one hand, of course, you've got the agricultural program initiative.
Right.
And I have to show the fact that your company is called Dominant Force. And I've got two questions about that.
Yep.
So first, why did you call it Dominant Force?
What's the second one?
No, go with the first one first. I don't want it.
Well, okay. As an athlete, I was always the standout. I'm not going to say superstar because everybody is made a superstar because people make superstars. Jordan will tell you this. Hey, you're going to pay me this amount of money for me having fun? I'll take it. So here's a guy who's recognized as the most dominant basketball player who ever played the game. Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali. These individuals make things happen before they even walk in the room. In Mike Tyson's case, he won matches before the bell rang because they were already fearful of that dominance. And I said, we all have a dominant force in something that we do. And when you take a look at my logo, someone asked me, well, what's that logo? I said, you tell me. How do you see yourself in that logo? You define that logo. I don't want anything that is so normal that, oh yeah, no. See it the way you see it. I know how I see it. And use that dominant force in life, because when life is over, you only have a story left. Okay. Tell your story. I tell my son and my daughter all the time, Daddy has a story. What's yours? Write it. But be the best at what you do without cutting off hands, heads, feet, you're harming people,
Okay, that went sideways right there. All right, all right. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
don't harm me. No harm.
The second question is related to all of the other things that you do.
Mhm.
And before we end today, I do want to talk about telethons and so forth. But
Sure.
again, some flyers. So I'm going to share this
Nah,
first. Okay.
yeah,
So beat the pro.
right.
And then this one, of course, as well, flag
Yeah,
football.
yeah.
So what are these things, these events are all about? How do they fit into God's mission, which you're just executing?
hmm Well, my company is an event operation. There's four pillars to my company. The community outreach is what you see with the giving back, the homeless, the agriculture, improving our, fellow man. I mean, me doing my job to help you, you help me. That's our duty here on this earth. That's the outreach portion. My fundraising portion is my signature fundraiser is Beat the Pro. I do that in all the schools. Most schools are always looking for ways of raising money for their program because most schools, high schools, colleges, and programs are event operations companies. And so my company was just tailored to continue to help raise money for them. So it doesn't matter if it's a high school, it could be any organization. It's just where I started. I just started helping the high schools with that Beat the Pro. So for 11 years, I've been doing this now: celebrity softball, basketball, flag football, cornhole. It doesn't matter. Even cards and bowling, we do that as well. So what that does is we bring out the celebrities where most individuals are not allowed to see unless they're behind this individual. No, we bring them out to say hello. How are you? And tell your story. The stories that when you hear these celebrities speak is just like our stories. But when they're removed from it and we put them on a different pedestal, they're unapproachable. So I tell them, no, you got to come off of that because you're just like, and I always say, you're just like little baby Jesus. They just want to touch your garment. They don't want your money. They just want to know who you are and see if you're real. Those two of the four pillars, the outreach, the fundraising, entertainment, and sports camps. That's what I do in the dominant force because it's really related through me as a coach and giving back through most volunteerism. Yeah.
So the camps, the summer camps, how do they work? For whom are they?
Camps can be put on any sport: soccer, football, basketball. And what we do with them is we work on the fundamentals, breaking bad habits. Because I don't want you to have a kid come to me that's never played on this level, and then I have to reteach them.
Okay.
And if we can take the camps and exclude what the coaches are teaching or their system, we don't want to coach your system. We want to make sure that these kids can stand properly, run properly, balance, all that. That's all we're working on is making them a better individual. Then we give them back to you. And if you don't know how to use them after that, coach, that's on you.
That's on you. I like it. That's on you.
Yeah.
And so you have these camps, you have these events. How do you get celebrities to come out? Because there are a lot of demands on celebrities to come out for free, to share, to do all this stuff.
Well, maybe we break a little news again today. I'm always doing something, right? 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago now, I flew to Atlanta. Well, I drove to Atlanta. And there's a young lady down there named Majesta Jackson. We partnered 6 years ago. She lost her son on the football field. And from that point on, she's been trying to get high school safety in the school system, high school, to teach kids before they hit that field. Well, we just signed a partnership with ESPN and the NFLPA. That's where it starts. You have to go to the actual Giants and have them come down. You cannot be afraid of the giant. Why? Because God, when I surrendered, he said, I own everybody. You tell people about me and I'll open doors for you. That's how. Because no is not part of what God has put in me. I don't do no very well.
Well, there's a plus to saying no sometimes too, not to God, but
Well, I tried. No, I didn't say no to God. I just I didn't want to.
yes, I don't want to. Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, there are all these things. The connecting issue for me is leadership of self.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is you're leading yourself by surrendering to God and letting God to sort of take the wheel, as we like to say. And at the same time, you're allowing others, whether it's through the agricultural initiative, Beat the Pro, summer camps, and all the other things you are doing and are going to do. It always seems to come back to becoming a better or being a good person and leading yourself as an example. Is that intentional?
Well, you remember we put together Leading by Feeding with Pete Smith. Remember that? And you came to me and said, Kenny, you need a certificate. Remember you told me that? You need to present to these individuals. Because we just wanted to do something for Black history. But you came and said, no, give these folks something for their time and effort. I'm thinking, well, I didn't think that far. So you help enhance me. They help enhance me. It's when I'm close to them and you, I become in a tunnel vision. So therefore, for me to say I've done all this myself, the world is mine. No, I'm sorry. Only arrogant individuals, people who are self-centered or narcissistic. We've seen a lot of that. And then they have great power, just like I have great power. So the choice between a coach is leading the kid down the right path or the wrong path. That power is real. So, I mean, you are who makes me, because I don't do this by myself. When I first met you at the Congressional Black Caucus, I had individuals tell me who to look for in this place. And someone said, you see that woman right there? So yeah, that's who you need to talk to. I said, no. So I sent Aaron over there. My CEO, I said, Aaron, go talk to the lady. Right? I said, because I'm not talking to that lady. End up that night, me and you talking. And I'm thinking, well, maybe Aaron didn't know how to talk to that lady. So we're talking, here we are still today. So it's like what you do. And all the things you do and all the things I'm doing, we now bring it together to make one strong link. Dominant force is about linking other entities and partnership, not networking. Networking for me is too much talk. I like to say, are you on board or not? If not, it's okay. You can come back, just window shop and watch what we're doing, and maybe you'll come in at a later time, because you're welcome. Because first off, I'm not God. And I don't have that right to tell you, you can't be a part of this linkage, but you have to understand what we're doing when you join it. We are not wasting time, because time is not endless for us on this earth. It is temporary. When I see people with a forever mind in a temporary situation, that bothers me.
Why?
Why does it bother me? It's because you're missing the reality that death comes, and death is the end of time for an individual. That doesn't mean spiritually and that forever, but this is not a place for forever. Do your work. Let God call you home. Have a story and look at your works afterwards. That's the story. That's the legacy. And I'm only in legacy building right now. So I don't have a forever mind on earth. I have a temporary situation. So when I have no money in my pocket, or I had a bunch of money in my pocket, it's still temporary. It's a temporary situation, right?
Absolutely. So you just mentioned the word legacy. So you're building your legacy by partnering with others, by providing a lot of opportunities to work with you to help the homeless, to
Mhm.
raise funds, to do all of these things.
Mhm.
What vision for the world do you have that you would love for your children to live in?
Oh boy. Well, they tell me what to do anyway, so they
I know the feeling.
especially that little girl. I mean, my daughter's like, "Hey, daddy." My son is pretty cool, so I'm starting to bring him into what I'm doing. He's 24 years old now. My daughter's 15. She's just in high school, just experiencing that thing. Um, the only thing that I really want my children to do is really be proud of me. Just to be proud of the dad that they are, that I am, what I've done, how I've done it, and their name is on it. You
Mhm.
know, and the thing that my mother said before she passed away, she said, I don't have anything. I have nothing to leave you boys. And I sat back and I looked at her. I said, well, I tell you what,
Mhm.
tell me when we gave you the heartache and you had to come out and chase us and find us for doing the wrong things. I said, I blame you for allowing me to be the best dad I can be. I blame you for keeping me out of the jail system. So blame ain't always a bad thing. So what she gave me was the opportunity to be a better me.
Mhm.
That's what her legacy is. This is what I do for her. Everything that I do now is in really honor and recognition of what my mother would have done if she had the opportunity that I have. But she had 5 boys. So there's part of her life that she couldn't go out with. So a lot of the stuff that you hear me doing all the stuff, I'm a single guy.
Mhm.
Now, what if I was not single? I would probably wouldn't allow it to be done or doing all this stuff. So I better do it. I better do it before. I better do it now before somebody say, "Hey, where are you going?" I gotta go. No, you. So I'm doing it now. So God's allowed me to do this now to build this legacy and leave it behind with my children and my family. So just be proud of Dad. Just to be proud of me.
So you
Simple.
just made a very interesting assumption about women, and I'm not going to go down that road.
No, I know me. I spoil women. I love women, but at the same time, their time, my time with them is important, and I value it.
Right.
So when that is missing, it's a void, and you can't have voids in situations like that sometimes. So
Mhm.
in any good relationship, love isn't always going to get you through this thing. You got to put true time in.
Yeah.
Just like the agriculture program. I mean, if I
Mhm.
don't put the time in, no one's really gonna know that I'm out there.
Right. Absolutely.
So
And I do want to give just a brief shout out to Antonia because she is so active, and I've met her here. You'd love her too.
mhm.
Um, one of the groups here, and I love that she is here and listening because I can feel her mind going. So I don't even want to know what's going to come out of this right now.
Right.
But the last question sort of that I have, and I know this is not necessarily
Mm,
an actual one,
right.
but for the agricultural science, you've got those 50 acres.
Yep.
Um, the 50 acres need to be worked on. They need to be
Yes. Mhm.
somehow created for this program to work. So
Well,
what do you need for that? What other
well,
than partnerships and people who are going to come out and just get down and dirty? What do you
right.
need for that?
It's another avenue of
Mhm,
having it work.
mhm,
This avenue is dedicated. That 58 acres is dedicated actually to grow food for anyone who's homeless across the country. And I have a logistical a partner down in Atlanta who can move the food
mhm,
once we grow the food, but we have to clear the land. It takes about $2,000 to just clear an acre.
mm.
And once you clear that acre, then you have to now, because I have a soil guy,
Yeah, great.
Craig.
Mhm,
Craig is on board. He said, when we get this, I'll go down there and take a look at the land, see what it needs to be cultivated to get it growing. But it takes funding, like
mhm,
anything in America, to get where you need to be. So donations are great. So $2,000 an acre to clear one. So what I want to do with individuals who donate 2,000 or 1,000 or 500 is put a company flag in an area of the 50 acres
mhm.
to say I donated and here's my company flag or name for donations. That's what we want to do. So that means we don't want it to just grow. We want it want to be identified by individuals who has helped with this initiative. Now, this is just 50 acres, but think about this. Coolwood has 3 acres, so that's 53 acres. So
Right.
it's growing. Okay, see, that's just one avenue. So they have the land. Each school in America or around the country or the world has a parcel of land that's sitting outside that's not doing anything.
Right.
And if you take that, now we take the 50 and we keep adding 53, 54, so on, and just keep on moving across this country where individuals can actually now fend for themselves when countries like Ukraine, who was providing all this wheat, now can't provide to other countries because of treaties. We have to get back to God's work. That means it's 131,000 schools in America. And 131,000 acres is a lot of acres of food. So that's how it goes. So we asked for the donations. The first time we did it was last year. What you just showed was our first telethon. Okay, and we had individuals come in. We have folks who have donated. We still have pledges that we haven't even called in yet, but they're sitting there. So there's a process with Reverend Gant, myself, and the folks down in Dublin. Once we're able to put all that together, hey, that's why it's sitting. That's why I have the notarized copy to say, hey, we go when we're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
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 Well, and especially because I know you're saying, you're saying the number of schools and equating them to acres. We know that in some areas there is no acreage around the school, but that's where it comes in. What you were saying, it's for everybody.
It's everybody. And we're building Pallet Gardens now, where we can now go to a warehouse, grab pallets, lay them down, put the soil in on a parking lot or on top of a roof and grow gardens anywhere.
Yes.
So again, God has given us the means of doing anything. But think about it. Everything that we deal with comes from the earth. Everything came from the earth. And we just have to get back to that element because God has to be in somehow. Right? Somehow. So we cannot say we can't. My mother always said, try. That's what I'm doing. Just try.
And apparently you're trying the right way with all the partnerships and all of the initiatives that just are being brought forward. And that's why at the beginning of the show, I was talking about the law of attraction, which of course is not quite true since you say, I don't want to. But on the other hand, you have created an open mind to say, okay, whatever needs to get done, show me and I'll take care of it.
Well, you've heard of you've heard of when someone said you're called to preach. Remember you hear that, oh, he's called to preach. How do you know I'm called? I mean, really, how do you know I'm called? I don't know that. You said that, but maybe you know God better than I do. Okay, but this was not something that I wanted to do. None of this stuff I wanted to do, but I could feel that I was being pulled somewhere. So I tried, right? And when I tried, man, I got consumed with it. And wow. But let me say this before I get off, we end. The teachers of Atlanta and the teachers of the world, I was supposed to have the guests on today, Dr. Gretchen Jones Talbert. She and I met 6 years ago when I was in Atlanta, and we partnered with the teachers across Atlanta. Now it's the world. She has over 100 chapters. We partner with them now. And that's where we need to go with these partnerships inside the school, outside the school, because it's really about those who are not able to feed themselves. Big picture is about those displaced and homeless children. Those numbers that you saw are the numbers that they know, but there are numbers out there that we don't even know about. Okay? So the first thing is universal. We should be able to feed ourselves to go out and look for work. We should be able to feed ourselves to go to the gym. We should be able to feed ourselves before we go to vacation. We should be able to feed ourselves, period, in a story. And it is against God's everything to where you cannot eat when he said, I provided everything on this earth for you. Somewhere in this line, we are off and out of order.
Well, and everything is shifting now back to order.
That's right.
So it's divine timing.
That's
And
right.
I'm hoping that Dr. Gretchen Jones Tarvert will be able to
I'm gonna
join
get
us
her.
next time, maybe,
I'm gonna get her.
because it is an important story that it's not just local,
Right.
it is global.
Yeah.
And in that, those are the connections. And sometimes it starts with a little seed somewhere, of
That's it.
course.
That's it.
And I am so with Antonia. I was going to say it, but she said it first. Okay, the law of attraction doesn't hear the word "not," so I don't wanna shift to I wanna.
I wanna.
Just remember that.
Yeah, I wanna. Well, but here's the best thing, and you know this because you kept telling me, "What do you need? What do you?" Because you saw it, and I'm the type of person I can't ask for anything because I hate asking, but I can build it, and if I can build it and you like it, and you say, "Well, hey, how do I be a part of it?" That's the way I ask because I show you something, and if you like what you see, I tell you how it should be to go forward. I could explain that, but to ask for donations and money, that's not who I am. I know people say, "Well, I'll do it for you." Well, come on, right? Come on, and we're gonna get there. But let's just make this clear: we're there. We just have to finish the process, and everything in life is a process.
True.
And someone asked me, "Say, you ever heard a tree grow?" I said, "What? Have you ever heard a tree grow?" No, you just see the growth in the tree.
But once it had leaves, you can start hearing the whispers.
Yeah, and the fruit start
You know,
dropping. You eat from
and
the
then they're
young.
connecting with each other and all of that.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Gray.
Right.
Um, this is it for today, and we'll have you back with
Yep.
one or two guests, depending on whether Dr. Gretchen will be able to make it as well,
Right.
because this is such an important issue, just like I did last year in November, where we focus on artists.
Mhm.
This is the month where we're going to focus on positive initiatives
Yeah.
that can change the world.
Yep. Hmm.
So please be
Just
sure, yeah, please be sure after this to also go to Facebook, Dr. Gray, and put your
yes.
information in there. Not necessarily your private phone number, but people
Ah,
can reach you.
you got it. I'll
Yes,
put the necessary information out there
yes,
for anyone who wants to partner because we need that. That's where it starts. Partnerships is the first thing that we do, not networking, partnerships. So with my signature program, I am able to bring out some of these celebrities to where you are, even across seas, because I was overseas and I know all that stuff. So let's start with the partnerships and let's see where we can go and create and build together. And so, yeah. No,
absolutely. All right, everybody, that's it for today. Be back same time, same place, same channel next week.
you got it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.